So for those of you keeping track of the Vegas and their Golden Knights watch, once Vegas has made its $500 million purchase or $500 million payment to the NHL, they will be allowed to start making moves. So George McPhee can start talking to teams, and the way that they put it is that they can acquire players who are currently free agents. They can make moves for draft picks, and they can make moves with the expansion draft in mind. One thing I've been telling people all along is all these players you're worried about losing to Vegas, Vegas likely isn't going to be interested in getting some of these players because they want to start with a fresh young team. They realize they're not going to be a contender that first season, so they're going to want to play nice with the other 30 GMs off the hop here. It is not unusual for an expansion team to make deals to make sure they don't take certain players. So I could see Tampa making move if they want to keep Bishop. I could see Pittsburgh making move if they want to keep Fleury. I could see all these things happening because any other expansion draft I've seen it before. Usually not on the level that it is with Vegas. Vegas will have a better crop of players to choose from because of the way this is set up. But when you've spent about $1 billion to get a team, I guess you should get a decent one off the hop. But it's not going to be a playoff contender, and they're not going to pick up great players. They're going to pick up half decent players. It'll be interesting to see what happens because I can honestly see them picking up a few players as soon as this 500 million's gone through, and George McPhee trucking out a few guys and saying this is what we're building around. Remember, they have to get players for their NHL team, their American Hockey League team. They'll have an East Coast League team as well, and they're going to want to pick up, guys for those 50 contracts and start selling to the city of Vegas the team that they have. And it's going to be an interesting first year for Vegas. And I honestly am kind of hoping and chomping at the bit that they make that 500 million payment because I want to see what kind of moves George McPhee is going to make. McPhee is a GM who I always thought kind of bungled things a little bit in Washington and then was lucky enough to get Ovechkin in the draft, so it made him look better than he was. I honestly thought he was a guy who would become a GM of the Canucks. Then I saw the job he did with Washington and went, maybe it was better you didn't GM the Canucks. I wish him well in Vegas, but again, I think he got lucky that Ovechkin came along and was putting the team on his back the first couple of seasons. Some decent moves and decent signings along the way, but McPhee was never, to me, a top 10 GM guy. And I'm not sure that he'll be around when Vegas does become a contender. Usually the GM at the beginning doesn't stick around for very long, David Poile aside. But we'll see. We'll see how it works out for them. So, what free agents are kicking around for them to pick up? I don't have a clue right now, but they'll find somebody. Most expansion teams are able to find somebody that is ready to come in and play at the NHL level, at least for the first season or two. With Columbus, the first name that comes to mind is David Boborny, who came in and played relatively well for them for quite some time. I remember Andrew Burnett was a hired gun for expansion teams for a while there. Mike Sillinger played for every team in the league, it seemed. There's always going to be somebody kicking around the league that you can bring into Vegas that's willing to play any role that you give them and plays well. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And then when the draft lottery comes down and Vegas can wheel and deal that pick, we'll see what happens. Because it's not a great draft. It's I think it's going to be a half decent draft. I don't think when you look back at the bad drafts of the late '90s, early one or two in the early 2000s, I really don't think that can happen now. There's so much scouting in Europe, And there's so many guys who would have been, like the Datsuk's or Zetterbergs, the Diamonds in the Rough. Those guys are now known entities. So I really don't think you can have a draft where the entire first round sucks. I think you can have a draft where it's not all star players, but I think draft busts are going to be a lot rarer in the NHL now than they were, say, 20 years ago, because of the fact that scouting is so much more important and it's global. So you're always going to be able to find those guys that would have been missed back in the late 90s, mid 90s, and now they're not missed anymore. So I think Vegas is in a good position that way too, because Vegas will be scouting talent from here forward, and we'll see how they do with that. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. I also wanted to touch on the skills competition. I watched about half of it before I lost interest. I know there's the fastest skater controversy. I honestly don't understand controversies with skills competitions because it's just for fun. Uh, I'm not getting into it. The most interesting thing to me was that Ryan Kessler did a Ryan Kessler thing that he was booed. He blew kisses to the crowd when they booed him, and then he brought a little kid out to take the shot for him, which I, Kessler's a tough call. He's a tough nut to crack. He's he's got the earmarks of being a decent guy and a nice guy, and then he does something on the ice and you think he's a dick. So, you know, today was the other way around. He came out and acted like a dick, and then he did the nice guy thing with having a little kid take a shot at the net. Because that competition's a joke. They can scrap that now. If Mike Smith didn't hit the 5-hole from the other end of the ice, that is just a dead competition. That's a dead competition. I did like the pass and shoot competition where they were hitting those little nets on the ice. That's hard. That would be very, very difficult to do as a speed round. That would be tough. And there was some impressive displays there. And PK Subban with his ability to stick handle around the pucks on the ice. PK is going to do well at that because he had to, because Ryan Suter couldn't hit the net. I've talked a lot about Suter in videos recently, and then at skills competition, at least in that portion of it, he just couldn't hit the net. And I thought, oh great, I jinxed him. It's my jinx that if I talk about how good a guy is and he's flying under the radar, as soon as he's on a major stage, he blows it. So, and then of course Dubnyk, when he scored, he came in and I saw him kind of joking around with Suter. So that would have been an interesting little conversation of the mic'd up for, but I didn't hear any mic work between the two of them on CBC, which I was watching. But as I said, then the news caught my interest. So it's not that I stopped watching because I wasn't interested as much. It was the fact that there was something historical going on in the news. I felt that there was something really important going on, and so I ended up being riveted to that news story. And by the time I thought to go back to the skills competition, it was over. So the All-Star game's tomorrow. I will be stuck at work tomorrow. I will not be able to catch the All-Star game. And that's just part of how it works, because I don't get paid as much to sit and talk to you guys, even if I do a live stream. It doesn't earn me the kind of money that work does. So it's a matter of importance here. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about the Vegas thing, touch on the skills competition. Crosby, 10 seconds to hit all 4 targets. Impressive as always. He's no Ray Bork, but he tries. Yeah, I still remember Ray Bork hitting the targets. Still to this day the most impressive I've seen, and I know he's not the speed record anymore, but I don't care. Still the most impressive because Boston. Anyways, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're just browsing your way through. And thanks for watching. I will talk to you all again tomorrow. I will be discussing what happens at the All-Star game after I get caught up on it, if there's anything really newsworthy. And I promised yesterday, and I will get into the rookies in the rookie issue. because there's a lot of really good rookies right now. And Austin Matthews looked fantastic in the accuracy competition. I was surprised he didn't go 4 for 4. He very, very close. But, you know, 4 for 4 is tough to get, but he was really close to it. So, kids for real. Very excited about what's going to happen in his future and just in general. This draft class is fantastic. So, anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all again tomorrow.